Hey, good morning. Welcome back to the channel. It's another Sunday fun day out in the garage. Today's video, as you guys can tell from the title, is all about brakes, particularly front disc brakes. If you're doing a conversion on a 58 to 64, going from drum to disc, this is my introduction into that. I'm not doing any parts installation today. We're just talking about the hardware, what to buy, at least for me, what I bought. This is not a definitive, brake explanation of all the kits. This is just what I was interested in and what I liked and what I purchased. And hopefully this will give you guys some answers to any questions you might have. If you're in the same boat that I am, looking at, brake upgrades, or got a project you're doing and down the road you're gonna have to do something with your front brakes. So stay tuned. I'll flip you around and we'll look at some parts that I just had come in. So hang tight. All right, here we are. So this is my introduction to the brakes. These parts that you see here, I just got in the mail. They were purchased off of eBay through a seller called Tom's Classics. He's pretty easy to find. He's a brake guy. He's got some other stuff, but a lot of brake stuff. I don't have all the parts that came with the kit shown. It's just, if there's that right there can represent obviously both of them. Everybody out there knows that we got two calipers. But the point here is just show you, the kit that I purchased, the direction that I'm going with mine. And if you take something from this that you can use, that's great. If not, that's fine too. Just updating everybody on the channel. So let's start out with the big one. So we got cross-drilled and slotted rotors. These weren't really on my to-buy list, but the price of this kit and the parts that it came with, I felt like this was money well spent because it was only something like $25 over the other kit that I had considered buying that were just standard rotors. Tom's Classics can sell them both ways, but I thought this was just some style points. And I'm not autocrossing or trying to hot rod this thing, but it's gonna look cool. So the big thing about this kit is I priced everything to build a kit with everything you see here individually, just buying the parts, say off of Rock Auto, versus saying, okay, I'm gonna pay somebody to just put me a kit together. And dollar for dollar, for me, it seemed like it was worth it to just go ahead and buy this kit. Yeah, I probably could have saved a few bucks, but there's some things in this kit that we'll go over that I would have been compromising had I purchased everything separately. So let's get started with that. Of course, we know the rotors. A big thing also to know is that if you're looking at buying a kit from a seller, now there are many ways to build a brake kit for these cars. You see people all the time do like Caprice, big body, B-body Caprice conversions with the spindle and all the brakes and stuff like that. I had considered that, but at the end of the day, I was like, I don't really have the time, to be honest with you, to just source everything. It was just easier for me to just hit that button and pick up a kit. So when you're buying a kit, if your seller will not tell you where these came from and where these came from, as well as that, don't purchase that kit, okay? Because in the future, I'm gonna have to replace these. I don't know when that'll be. Could be 5, 10 years, could be a year. I don't know. Same with brake pads. Brake pads gotta be replaced, they're consumables. If your seller will not tell you what car these parts came from, don't buy that kit, okay? I messaged this seller and asked him, these exact questions, and he was open and honest with me about the parts and what they're from, because the idea behind these kits is they source these parts from many different cars and put them together. So he was upfront and straightforward and told me exactly what they came off of. And I've had a couple of sellers that wouldn't. So to me, that was a turnoff. So with that being said, make sure you ask those questions. And for those of you who are new to disc brake conversion kits, that's a big one, okay? Because you're gonna have to know in the future. So yes, got the rotors, perfect. This particular kit came with all the bearings and seals and dust caps and all the hardware that's necessary for the rotor itself. Came with front brake hoses, which I don't know that I'm going to use these. I may convert to a stainless steel braided lines that are possibly extended. A good friend of mine has a 64 that's going to be on the channel hopefully here pretty soon, and he's got those on the front of his car, and I really like the look of them, and the extended length helps a lot with the front lockup and extended A-arms and all that stuff. These will come back to the booster. Okay, so the important thing here is that I wanted power brakes. This car initially did not have power brakes from the factory, and I wanted that convenience of having power brakes. This booster is fairly small. Let me get a tape measure here. So we're looking at, this is just a rough ballpark. Let's see, we're looking at about, let's call it 7. Let's call it 7-inch wide booster. And like I said, this one has power. It's small, it's compact. For me, it was exactly what I was looking for. LS guys, take note. LS conversion cars, they can be kind of tight between the coil pack on the valve covers, and if you're running some kind of fancy, engine cover, stuff like this is nice because of how it's compact, and you don't have the giant, like the old school, like the 13-inch, or hell, some of them had, I think, up to 15-inch boosters. So, yep, I could have got this chrome, but that's not really the look I'm going for on this car under the hood. Not going to have a lot of chrome. It's more or less just going to look like a factory car under the hood. And so that may get painted. I may leave it alone. I'm not really sure. I'll cross that bridge later. The master cylinder. So this is a dual line, dual reservoir master cylinder. Anybody that's familiar with these cars know that they came with a single line master cylinder. And those aren't ideal, because if you get a hole in your brake line, like we've talked before in previous videos, you can just forget having brakes because they're gone. So this was a big upgrade for me. I definitely wanted this to have that stopping power. Let's see, brackets to bolt the booster to the firewall. Those are really nice. Push rod and clevis with a boot. Sorry, with the boot right there. So that's nice. Okay, so the caliper sets themselves, these are off a G-body, so it would be any, what do they say, 79 to 86. Some guys will argue with me, 78 through 80 are A-body, like a Chevelle, but that's a whole nother, that's a rabbit hole to go down. But anyways, for the sake of this video, we're gonna call them G-body. These calipers came loaded, meaning that they had the brake pads in them. I don't know if they're, the best quality, but they'll get me started, and they'll help me stop. So eventually I can upgrade these if I want to a better quality brake pad, but from what I'm seeing, they look okay. So yeah, those are G-body. Now this is a single. Some of them have dual. Okay, so keep that in mind when you're looking for your kits and what you're going to need for your stopping power on your car. This is the proportioning valve. So if you're still running drum brakes on the rear, this is important. You'll have to have one of these. This one would mount underneath the master cylinder, and then this is front left, front right, and then rear. That's the rear right there. So this is important. With running drum brakes on the rear, you can also have a adjustable proportioning valve that you can have attached to these. I don't know that I'm gonna need one yet. If I do, I'll just throw it in there, but this kit came with the pre-bent lines that go right here. So that was really nice. And then that's the bracket that holds this off of this to help support the power, you know, when you're pressing the brake in the car, it prevents any kind of flex or anything like that. I don't know if I mentioned, but those are Chevelle. So like, let's say 68 to 72 Chevelle, which is pretty common. Something else to take note is that there are other companies. One in particular is ABS Power, and anything I talk about here with a company, I'm not sponsored. This is just me and you talking. ABS Power offers a kit for 13 and 14 inch wire style wheels. So your Daytons, your Zeniths, McLeans, the old school stuff. This, I don't believe, is that zero offset, okay? The zero offset meaning the height and how the wheels will stick out. They offer that kit, and it's considerably more expensive than what I paid for. And at the end of the day, for me, it wasn't, I couldn't justify buying that expensive of a kit because of my budget. But, so that's, you're looking at, let's call it two and a quarter. Sorry, 2 1/4. Okay. This kit is for 14 inch wire style wheels. I did not buy the 13 inch because I have 14 inch Daytons. So for me, this was the kit. You cannot use your factory 14s with this kit, steel wheels, because those wheels are not meant for disc brakes. They're meant for drum brakes, so therefore the clearance inside the rim is not adequate. So that's just something to take note, guys. The 13 and 14 inch kits, I think there are a few companies that make them. I believe, like I said, ABS Power for sure. But for me, this was the kit. This was what I wanted. Oh, and it also came with front pre-bent brake lines. Okay, so yeah, brake lines aren't super hard to make, but that was just an added bonus. And some of the other companies did not offer that with their kits in this price range. So price, you might be asking, this whole entire kit, which is other parts that you guys don't see here because it's just 2 of these, 2 of those, was $529, and that was to the door. Okay, so for me, that was not too bad. I priced this kit individually, and I was really close to that number. So I thought, you know, I get the added bonus of the brake lines, the drilled and slotted rotors. So that for me was a no-brainer. All right, so here we go. The big thing about this kit, the big reason why I purchased this is these right here, okay? Something to take note. Not all kits are the same, okay? These are milled, you know, thick steel. These are not bent in a press. These are milled parts, okay? A lot of the companies I saw out there are advertising these, but they are bent in a brake, like a metal brake. And I did not want that. I wanted milled, heavy-duty steel. Yeah, they're just zinc plated. I'll probably paint them. We'll see, you know, when I get there. But that was important to me because I didn't want any kind of flex whatsoever in the caliper, in the bracket that bolts to the spindle. Okay, so these right here, I don't know if you can buy these individually. I did not ask. And the reason I bring that up is because if you wanted to build this whole entire kit on your own, you got to find these. And I don't want anybody to get scammed or somebody to sell them those that are just bent on a press brake. Get the ones that are milled. They're considerably stronger. And let's see what we're looking at thickness wise. Sorry. So we're looking at like 3/8. Yeah, sorry guys, I know it's terrible camera, I'm just one guy here. So keep that in mind. The other thing concerning these is that these will bolt to a drum brake spindle, okay? Some kits come offered with spindles that are 2-inch drop. That for me, that just wasn't gonna work. I didn't really want the 2-inch drop because I'm gonna run an 8-inch cylinders in the front with the coils and all that kind of stuff. So that wasn't that important to me. But these will work with the stock drum brake spindle. So when you're looking for your kit, unless you're doing a spindle upgrade, keep that in mind. And again, I can't stress this enough. If the seller is not willing to tell you what parts these cars come off of, don't even bother. Just go on to someone else. Also, with this kit came the instructions on the installation that also noted the foot-pounds that all the bolts need to be torqued to. And it came with part numbers for the Napa bearing and inner seals. Even the brake hose part number, so that was really cool. And I mean, yeah, you could find that on your own, but it's nice that they listed it here. They also have a non-power kit for these cars, so if you did not want to fool with that booster right there, you could do a non-power style kit. So yeah, that's, in a nutshell, that's my brake kit. And I couldn't be happier with it. I really stressed out about buying this kit because I looked at 40 different ones, and I was worried that, you know, if we have another, who knows what's gonna happen in the future with part shortages, and God forbid another freaking whatever comes down and you can't get nothing. I didn't want that problem when I get my frame to that point to where I need to start reassembly again. So at least I have these here and I don't have to stress out about that. So that's mostly it in a nutshell. Yes, you can buy more expensive kits. You can upgrade all day long till your heart's content. You could spend $2,500 on a brake kit like without blinking an eye. I didn't want to do that. I'm on a budget, and this is going to work just fine for me, and I can go up the street and get these parts at my local auto parts store. So keep that in mind for you guys that may live in a rural area, or, you know, someplace that doesn't have a parts store that's readily accessible. I mean, I know everybody's got the internet, but it's nice to be able to just go up and say, hey, I need this part number, and get this part. So that's my brake kit. If you have any questions about this kit or the seller, or eventually we'll get into installation, I'm not at that point yet, but I wanted to share the new parts with everybody. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Like, subscribe, I appreciate that. I appreciate a lot of the comments, and it's been a pleasure. So I'll get everything set up here, and we'll do our speak on it topic, and I'll bring you back here in just a minute. Thanks. All right, we're back. So before I get into the speak on it topic this week, I wanted to give a shout out to one of the viewers of the channel, Efrain Gonzalez from the Bay Area. He's one of the guys that reached out to me about the conversion kit for brakes. So this kind of is for him. He has since got back to me and told me that he went through ABS Power and bought himself a kit. He's running 13x7 Zeniths, and he said that the dealing with the company was awesome. He said they were really great, answered all his questions, and he's really happy with dealing with them. So again, this is not an endorsement of ABS Power. I'm just saying that they're the guys that are running 13s, there are options, okay? So the old days, the scary days of grinding down calipers to fit Daytons, I know, I've been there, I've done it. That is a thing of the past, so you don't have to do that anymore. So thank you, Efrain Gonzalez, for the shout out and letting us know about the ABS Power Kit. I don't know how to do the links yet. I'll have to figure out how to put a link, but guys, just search tab ABS Power, you'll find them. So today's topic is, I get a lot of questions about the car from the earlier videos, one, you know, like the introduction video, before I really started pulling anything apart. And the most consistent one is, why don't you just roll it like it is? There's nothing wrong with the car. Just put your switches on it, throw the motor trans in it, and go. That's really not an easy one to answer. 15-year-old me would have been like, yep, that's what I'm doing. I'm just gonna drive this car like it is. Fast forward all these years and where I'm at in my life and what I'm doing with my family and job and career and all that stuff, and this is it's a different ball game now. You know, I like to joke around with my buddies and my friends and stuff and tell them I have adult money now. I can do all the bad stuff that, you know, I probably shouldn't be doing with my money, like buying stuff like this, but I'm gonna do it my way. I'm gonna do it right. At least what I feel is right. Yeah, I could have rolled the car like it is. It's cool, man. You know, it's Cheech and Chong. I hear that a lot, and that's cool. I love that car. The Love Machine is one of the coolest cars in history. But it just wasn't really, it's not really the look I'm going for. I just want to do something more, you know, use my skill set that I have, that I've learned over the years. And something I haven't really brought up on the channel is I'm actually prospecting for a car club. So I've been in car clubs before, not really anything to, you know, write home about, but this time it's different. I don't want to mention a name yet because I haven't actually submitted my paperwork yet, but I've gotten to know the guys, I've hung out with them, spent some time with them at a couple shows, and they're everything I'm looking for in the camaraderie. Guys that are very knowledgeable in this, some say a sport, some say a hobby, some say a lifestyle. I think it's a little bit of all that. So I'm actually prospecting with a club, and I didn't want to have just any old 64, you know. These guys build some really quality rides, and they're pretty well known across the country. So we have a chapter that's fairly close to us, and I wanted to build a quality car that I could put my name on, and people go, hey, you know, who did your frame? Well, I did. Or, hey man, who, you know, put the brakes on this car, or installed the glass? I did. You know, so I'm gonna have the ability to say that, and that is important to me. And I wanted those guys in the club to know that I'm just as committed to this as they are. So yeah, like I said, it's not really an easy thing to answer, because I could have rolled the car, I could have put like a couple grand in it probably, and probably drive the thing right now the way it was. But at the end of the day, it just, I wouldn't have been able to sleep right about it, knowing that I could have done better because of, you know, quality and stuff like that. And plus, this gives me a place to, like a platform to showcase my welding skills and stuff like that. So that was important to me. But would I knock anybody for riding a car like this? No, absolutely not. You know, some guys just want to drive and work on stuff as their budget allows, and that's great. I'm in a unique position to where I have two cars. I have this and then the Malibu, the G-Body you guys saw in an earlier video. So sometimes when I get overwhelmed working on this thing, I just want to drive it. I have my Malibu, I can jump in that, take off, and get that out of my system and come back and clear my head and go, okay, now let's stay focused on this, you know, and keep going on this project. So that's pretty much this video's speak on a topic. All the comments about what we were just talking about, I still appreciate that. That's cool, you know, and I understand where everybody's coming from. But for me, that just had to do a little bit better. So that's going to conclude this video. Thanks for watching, and liking and subscribing. I really appreciate the help, and I'm gaining quite a bit of viewers, gaining some steam in the you know, the hours watched kind of thing. So that's awesome, and hopefully we'll do another video here pretty soon. So have a good Sunday. We'll see you next time.